I'm a firm believer, do not fuck with your coworkers, do not romantically entertain them. In fact, to me, like, work is work. Work is the place where you go to make money and then you go to dip. Like, you'll be lucky if you make friends there, but for the most part, like, the people who got it like that don't need to be dating from their work pool. I find it so annoying and offensive that, like, people think I'm an option just by virtue of proximity, just because we happen to work at the same fucking place. Absolutely not. If you must make an exception, date them after you're done working there or after they are done working there. I remember one time when I stopped working at my job, I had 5 coworkers that were men slide into that little inbox to try to friend request me, and 3 of them tried to ask me out. One of them tried to get me hired at his new job. The other asked me to go with him to Mexico. Another one asked me to boba, and then another one just tried to like flirtily text with me, which no. People who are attractive are used to getting hit on and badgered everywhere they go. They're used to being treated like competition. They're used to being stared at. After a while, it's annoying. Like, you want the places that you go to just strictly be for those functional purposes only. And if you're smart about trauma, you'll know that you'll avoid so much more of it by not fucking your coworkers. Otherwise, be prepared to find a new job, be prepared to quit, or be prepared to live a very awkward existence. It's just not worth it, especially if you like your job.
Y'all, let me tell you about the worst idea I ever had. Dating a coworker who chased me for years. I mean, the guy was relentless, always trying to impress me. Flowers, compliments, you name it, he did it. I kept saying no because obviously mixing work and romance was a bad idea. But after years, I finally thought, why not give it a chance? And let me tell you, it was a big mistake. The moment we started dating, everything changed. He love bombed me almost immediately, telling me that he was in love with me on like the first date. But his actions were a completely different story. He would be super sweet one moment, then distant the next. It felt like he was just playing a game, and the worst part made me question everything, like I did something wrong. Like, what did I do? He even started comparing me to his last girlfriend to my face. I felt like he was punishing me for not dating him sooner. It was his way of getting back at me. I just know it. Talk about a humbling experience. Seriously. He'd say he didn't see my texts, but at work he would actually show me that he read them. I mean, come on, how petty is that? Oh, and did I mention he was older than me? I thought he'd be mature, but boy, was I wrong. I realized he wasn't worth the stress and the drama, and work became awkward, and I decided to just go back and keep it professional. So, lesson learned, don't date a coworker no matter how persistent they are. It's just not worth it.
Story time. When I was 19, I got a job at a restaurant as a hostess, and I decided I was in love with this 30-year-old server man. His name is Jason. That is his real name. Jason, if you're watching, I feel like it doesn't matter because Jason, if you're watching this, why did any of this happen? Why did any of this happen? Anytime this guy would walk by the hostess stand, my shoulders were back. I was trying so hard to look hot, and then anytime he talked to me, he'd be like, "Hey Becca, what's up?" And I'd be like, "Oh, nothing. I'm just working." So stupid. And then he'd be like, "How much money did you make tonight?" And I'd be like, "Oh, same as yesterday, which is $8 an hour." And he'd be like, "Yeah, that's sick. I made a couple hundred. No big deal. Slow night." And I'd be like, "That's incredible. I think you might be one of the coolest people I've ever met." And he was like, "Yeah, where do you live?" And I was like, "On my sister's couch." And he was like, "You live on your sister's couch? Do you want to see where I live?" And I was like, "Yes." So he takes out his phone, he starts showing me pictures of this nice house, and I'm like, "You live there? That's so hot. Everything you do is hot. You're so hot." Part of me was thinking, like, how does this guy live here? Because we work at the same taxidermist. The other part of me was like, well, he's 30, I'm 19, and he has worked here for like years and years and years. Maybe he just, I don't know, saved up. And then he was like, "Do you want to come over after our shift?" And I was like, yeah, sure. What? So then I go to this guy's house, but don't worry, I was smart. I decided to bring my coworker Abby with me. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna bring another 19-year-old girl with me. But when we got there, this is what it looked like inside. And I was like, "This is the interior design you chose?" And he was like, "Get in the basement, girls." So then we're just 2 19-year-old girls in the basement with this 30-year-old server. But he was hot, remember, so it's fine. But then we hear a voice that's like, "Jason, can I talk to you upstairs, please?" And he was like, "Mom?" And me and Abby looked at each other and we were like, oh. So now the story makes sense. It's his mom's house. So Abby's like, "Come on, we're leaving, let's go." And I'm like, "We can't leave now or else he'll think we're leaving because he lives with his mom." And Abby was like, "Well, that's why we're leaving though. That's why we're leaving." So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait and say bye to him. So Abby goes to the car. I'm waiting for this grounding or whatever trouble he's in right now. So he comes back down and he's like, "Sorry, my mom's so annoying." And I was like, yeah, I totally relate. My mom used to yell at me when I didn't clean my room back when I lived with my mom. He was like, "Yeah, do you want to make out?" And I was like, so two things. One, thank you for asking. That's so important. I love that. Two, no. And I left. And then he got fired. Not for that, but he probably should have gotten fired for that. And I don't know where he is now. I don't know where Jason is. So, yeah.
Ask and you shall receive. So here's the thing about dating coworkers. You're really never going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. Like, eventually you're going to have to choose between the two, whether it works out or not, probably for your own mental health. Like, there may be like a small percentage of people that can actually work together, but I strongly recommend that you expand your dating pool beyond your work life. So anyways, this was my first job out of college. I had just broken up with my boyfriend of 4 years. So I really didn't have a lot of friends outside of these new people that I was working with. I started this job and I was working for a boss that couldn't calculate the salary. I had a total crush on this guy that worked across the cubicle from me. We started dating, but he was the very clingy type. I had just moved out into my very first place and I kind of really hadn't had that experience of living on my own yet, but he would come over every day after work. So we would spend all day together at work and then all evening together after work. So pretty soon everything just became about work. Like, when you have that in common, that's all you're gonna talk about. You don't get a break, it becomes exhausting. And on top of that, I had this boss who was a total creep, the same one that couldn't calculate the salary. So my world just got really small. So eventually I chose him over the job. And I didn't regret it because the job I never wanted in the first place and I didn't really like it. But had I really liked that job, it could have been a bad situation. I also have another story about a coworker that I dated, as if I didn't learn my lesson the first time.
So I recently got friend zoned by a guy at my work. And I really thought at some point, or there were some signs that he was kind of into me. I know you're thinking workplace crushes are a terrible idea. And maybe I'm just looking for some sort of ego boost to know if he actually liked me. Because even I know it would not be a good scenario for us to date anyways. We come from two different worlds. I don't know, certain things. He likes certain things. I don't think we'd be compatible, but we have great chemistry. You know how that goes. Just some little actions he would do, which he would come into where I would work, my area, grab water a lot. He did this very recent, a few months after I started working there. So just thought it was so random of him to do that. We have hung out before, once in a group. Other times have been one-on-one, only one-on-one, but that's been sporadic throughout, since September, basically. And we got our nose pierced together. He acted nervous around me. He would like to FaceTime me, call me, text me, periodically, throughout the week, I would say. Always would see me every single day at work, say hi to each other every single day, little chit chat. I don't think there's one day where we don't say hi to each other. There's that. And he just would act protective of me. If I tell him about a situation about some other guy, but mind you, he was the one asking me questions about my own dating situation. So I'm like, okay. I would never offer up anything. He would ask me about it. And he would also ask me for scenarios with girls, and he just barely did this just recently. I can't remember why, but it just started to feel very random that he started bringing up other situations with girls. Mind you, there wouldn't be any active girls he would be talking to, but it was more just an interest in a girl. But yeah, he'd always talk to me all the time. And I just kind of thought he was just tiptoeing over the situation with us because we worked together. Just recently, he's calling me, acts like he cares, or he's flirty with me a little sometimes too. And, I just was like, hey, are you actually trying to be a friend? Or, I'm just trying to get, because I let him know I'm normally not friends with guys. I don't know how to be friends with guys. Never had a guy friend really, maybe back in elementary school, but not recently as an adult. I don't have at least attractive guy friends, and that's something I've been trying to navigate with this situation with this person. And even though I know we're not compatible, I'm still attracted to him, unfortunately. And so he was like, yeah, actually, I get nothing out of this whole, in a nice way. He was just I get nothing out of pretending to be your friend. I feel like you're really chill, you're really cool. And yeah, he would say weird things too. Oh, Ashley, I feel like we can really help each other out, if we go out, and I don't know, you can help me find someone. I'm like, okay. But then he was like, hey, like, yeah, there's guys at my work there's guys at work interested in you. And I was like, oh, really? Who? So he named a guy, and the guy was very, like, not very attractive, like conventionally not attractive. And I was like, okay, who else is interested? And he wouldn't even tell me who these other guys are. So I thought that was strange. Like, you're going to give me someone that obviously isn't super attractive. You're going to give me somebody that's like, at least he couldn't even name other people. So I thought that was really strange. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking way too much into it. He basically told me, he's like, yeah, you know, I see you as a friend. And what's weird is that a few days prior to me asking that question, I'm in somebody else's office to do some work for them. And he comes in and, you know, he acts nervous. And once he leaves, the associate of mine, she's like, I think you make him nervous. And then I'm like, really? Does he not normally act like that? And she's like, no. So I'm like, okay, you know, interesting. So anyways, I finally get him to like really say what's going on. He's like, yeah, I see you as a friend and blah, blah, you're chill. And I was like, wow, so you really don't see me that way? And he's like, no, I just don't. And I'm like, okay, cool. So, you know, my feelings are really hurt right now. And now things are a little awkward at the office and I have to see him here and there. I avoid him at all costs now. But the thing is, I forgot to mention is that before the phone call ended, he's like, I feel like you don't want to be my friend anymore. And it's like, no, I just need to process this. And mind you, I never told him I liked him. I basically was just more butthurt that he didn't see me that way. And I told him that. However, that's not the entire truth. I actually do have like a mini crush. I have a crush on him. Fuck it, I do. And it's kind of annoying and it sucks. And it's just hard to see him at work and we're not anything. We're just kind of strangers again. And I think he does want to be my friend still. It's just really hard for me to be his friend because he does talk about situations and scenarios, possible scenarios with other girls, and it just really annoys me. I thought he was doing this to make me jealous at first, but you know, I honestly have to believe if a guy tells me they're not interested, they're not interested. However, his body language and his actions show differently, and maybe he is not trying to get involved with a coworker, but at the same time, I thought if a guy really liked you, they would just tell you. So I don't know. This is a situation I've never dealt with before, but I am pretty bummed out and actually pretty sad that I wouldn't have him as a friend. It's not like I don't want to be his friend. It's just really hard to be his friend, and I can't be his friend. And I really realize that guys and girls cannot be friends. You have to not be attracted to them. Yeah. And I really didn't think I was attracted to him at first. I think my attraction really did grow after just kind of getting to know his personality. But at the same time, I know that chemistry and personality is not going to be the end all be all for a successful relationship. But I just still feel really like bummed out and sad that it has to kind of be this way. And I think he still wants to be my friend maybe, but I just can't be his. And I see him in the office all the time and now things are a little like awkward and I don't know, it just makes me sad, you know? Like losing a friend kind of. And obviously I care for him. I think he cares for me too. However, I was starting to feel like a little used because all he would do is talk to me about dating and ask me like scenarios with me and then like scenarios with potentially other girls. And I'm just like, oh my God, I cannot handle this. Like all he does is ask or talk about girls and wants my opinion. I just started to feel like, is this a genuine friendship? Is it not? I don't know if I even explain everything, but I'm just really, really bummed out about the situation and I wish things were different. I don't know why I even got myself involved. I don't know why I romanticized this person so much in my head. It should not have been the case. I did this to myself, to be honest, but I also really didn't know any better. I really thought I could handle like a whole workplace situation. But again, it was my own fault for romanticizing a situation that shouldn't have been romanticized. Just dumb. Like I said, I'm just bummed out that things are kind of weird now with us, so I don't know if they'll ever get back to normal. I think I just had to reset my mind and maybe we could be friends in the future, but I don't know. It just sucks. Anyways.
The husband says, oh, well, you know, it's either him or me. Those are nice memes, but that's not how you handle people. Look, I'll be honest, when I get clients like this, I roll up my sleeves. This takes a lot of work. This train is coming off the tracks, but it was off the tracks before it arrived here. So what I do is I get down to the truth of things. And I find if I get to the truth of things, things improve. And that's what I'm gonna do with these guys. Oh, and one last thing. If you find yourself in a similar position and you want my help, you know what to do. Okay, I'll talk to you again.
What do you think about like dating a coworker?
No. If you want instant chaos, instant drama, yeah, you can do that. If you don't, then don't do it. And I personally don't. Did that shit once. And I wouldn't even say we was dating for real. It was just messing around. But shit still got messy when I didn't want to take her serious or take it further than that. And shit happened way back in the day. And from that point, I promised myself this one thing, that I will never again mix my greens with my mac and cheese. Never.
Do not date your coworkers. Now, me, myself, I haven't actually like dated a coworker or anything like that before, but I done definitely like messed around with some coworkers before at the same job around the same time. And that shit didn't go well. And it's like, that's like a recipe for disaster in my opinion, right? Like imagine like you talking to like multiple people at one job. And yeah, when I was doing this, I was a lot younger, you know what I'm saying? So this was like a young, dumb mentality type thing. But I was definitely talking about like 3 to 4 different girls inside of a restaurant one time that I was working at. And I was like, damn, this shit pretty cool, until it wasn't, whenever like all the business and shit started getting aired out and then everybody know about what the fuck you got going on. And then now anytime like somebody else new who starts working there, you got the reputation and shit now, and like every other girl who worked there, they get to telling the other girls like, oh, hey, no, you should watch out for him. You shouldn't talk to him. He talks to all the girls shit. And like it could be vice versa for women as well, right? Like you get to doing that shit, and then like maybe the dudes want to like pass around your information and shit like that, or talk about you and shit to like other people who work there or whatever, right? And it's like that's just not a good time. Like you shouldn't be doing shit like that. And like so that for that reason, like since then, I just don't talk to women I work with. You know what I'm saying? Like it just never has worked out well. And it's happened at other jobs and shit too. Where, like 2 women really was about to fight one time, and I wasn't actually intimate with neither one of them, right? But it's like just like them knowing that like we was talking and shit like that and hanging around or whatever, it just like it'd be sparking shit. And it's like it'd be people who real life be like actually like really dating their coworkers and shit, and I just be like, wow, like that shit's gonna turn out so bad. You know, maybe sometimes it could turn out good too, you know what I'm saying? I just personally have never seen it be like a good thing that ever happened, but like, and I've only seen the bad, but like it just be so interesting. It'd be like, damn, like y'all really be doing that shit. Like, come on, man, y'all got to get it together, because I've been there and that shit don't work. And then you be at work one day and you just chilling in the back or whatever, and then you got the manager coming up to you talking about something. Oh yeah, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro, Shawty went around telling everybody what y'all was doing right before y'all came into work. Yeah, true story.
Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. These people have literally taken the word work husband quite literally, and they found out quickly that don't mess around at work. Don't mess around with your coworkers, because you never know. Imagine working somewhere and you're messing around with your coworkers, and then things don't work out and you have to see their ugly face 24/7 at work, and you cannot escape it. You basically cannot escape it. Let's just say, well, I didn't mean to say ugly face, but you know, when you no longer date someone, you see them as like the ugliest person in the world, because you're just like, how could I even waste my time with that? Why did I even do this? You know, that kind of thing. But anyways, you are basically stuck at work and you have to see this person. You have no choice but to see them, because this is your source of income. So it's very, very crazy. When you realize how many people who actually are dating their coworkers, you'll be surprised. The whole work husband or work wife thing is a real thing. And you are building emotional connection with that person at work. You are more connected with that person than you are with your partner, because you spend so much time with that person. So you and your partner might be married, and this person, Sally, and her partner might be married, but then you and Sally been emotionally connecting at work, and you go back home and you're just dealing with your boring wife or your boring girlfriend. Hopefully that's not the case, but you're dealing with them. Now you're thinking about Sally at work, or Sally's thinking about John at work. Meanwhile, she's with her partner. But then fast forward later in the year, he's still working at the same company. Now Sally's single, you're single. Now you guys end up getting married. I know a situation like this that happened at a job that I was working, where they knew that they had respectful partners, and they were basically like sweethearts, like high school sweethearts. And then now those two are married because they build that bond from work relationships. But not just that, the worst can happen where you break up and you have to see that person 24/7 at work because you guys kind of work together, and that's where all your finance come from. So it's kind of hard for you to avoid that person even though you don't want to see their face. And it can go as worse as getting fired. Like you and the person that you're dealing with could go as worse as getting fired.
Rule number 1, never shit where you eat. Meaning, if you do not talk to your coworkers, do not ever date a coworker. Learn from me. Take my advice. Do not ever think that you can date a coworker.
This is why you shouldn't date somebody that you work with. Me and my husband used to work together when we were 17 all the way till we were 18, 19. One Sunday, we were both scheduled to go into work at the same time. So that morning, we went to church. And after church, we would always go out and eat somewhere. We were eating at Panda when we realized it's a beautiful day outside. So my husband and I, my then boyfriend, decided, let's call in. But y'all, it was not that easy to just call in. They knew we were together, which is why they would schedule us at the same time, because he was my ride to work. We couldn't just call in and say, hey, I'm not feeling good, because then they would question us, well, if Fatima's not feeling good, then why is Miguel not coming in? Came up with this whole ass lie. Miguel called and said I had to bring Fatima to the hospital because she wasn't feeling good. They were doing labs on me, so it was gonna be a bit. And y'all, the managers there, they were nosy. So they would want every detail. So the manager was asking Miguel, oh, what are her symptoms? So Miguel just had to make up something. He just said I couldn't stop throwing up and my stomach was hurting. Ended up believing him. We were both able to stay at his house because we still weren't living together, and we enjoyed our beautiful spring day. The next day though, I got asked if I was feeling okay, and I was a little confused. I was like, yeah. Luckily, I remembered quick and just said, oh yeah, I just had a UTI. So don't be like us. Date somebody that you work with, because it's gonna be hard when both of y'all want to call in.
The whole sexual assault situation, and they make you do all the modules basically every 3 months so they can reinforce that, because they don't want those things to happen. But let me tell you, when your story get out, because maybe a few coworkers went out for drinks, which is one thing I highly do not recommend, going out for drinks with your coworkers, because when you get drunk, things get said, and then you're in your manager's office on Monday because you had drinks with your coworkers on Friday and you said a little bit too much because the alcohol was flowing. So just be careful, because those people are not your friends. Okay, they might be smiling in your face, but they are not your friends. You might be thinking, oh, this person, Margaret, is from the same place. I'm laughing because I actually have a coworker named Margaret, but we're not talking about this Margaret. But you make up a name. Margaret is from my island, my country, and we are talking crap together, having over drinks. And all of a sudden, Margaret's trying to keep her job, and she got children to feed. So something happened, and you have to go. So you think Margaret's going off herself and give you the job? No, Margaret has a family to feed, and she has needs. So if something is said, Margaret just might bring that up, and just to save her butt. So you have to be very, 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 very careful. I don't know, I cannot reinforce this enough. Dating at work. I was on a date with somebody at work, and then something happened, and now, anyways, this story, I'll save that story for another day, but it's pretty funny actually. So I do not recommend it because it can go left quick, and by the time it go left, you will not like it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Send this to your coworker. One life choice that'll have you on the wrong trajectory is trolling for dates in your company's staff directory. This has been said a million times, but I'll stress it further. You'd better not bang your coworkers. First, everyone knows don't shit where you eat. There's no office hookup that's truly discreet, because if one person knows, so does the whole office. It spreads like wildfire, even if you're cautious. What's that? You're proud of it or you don't care? Well, what if things blow up? Are you prepared? Because just like you, they come into work each day, so if you learn you hate them, they're stuck there to stay. What might be fun in the moment could turn to shit after, and your employment could end in explosive disaster. But if it's not just a hookup and it's something real, well, that can result in a shittier ordeal. Ex-hookups, they're awkward. Serious breakups, they're awful. Work's tough on its own. Why add that debacle? Breakups add enough stress when they're dealt with in private, but in this case, it'll affect your whole environment. A fantastic workplace could become somewhere you hate because you saw your office as a place to date. The only exception to what I'm recommending is if you're fully confident in a happy ending. And by ending, I mean forever. They'll be your future spouse, but don't even go there if you have doubts. If you're not serious and certain, don't even try. It could ruin your life. The risk's just too high. Even if you've worked there your whole life, or you call her your work wife, if you've worked hard for your career, if they work with you, please stay clear. If they look like a sexy snack, do not send a flirty Slack. I don't mean to crush your dreams. Don't use pickup lines on Teams. If you're flirty at a work event, you should not go home with them. Although the Christmas party might get wild, please do not conceive a child. You're better off banging a stranger. Banging coworkers, that brings danger. This has been said a million times, but I'll stress it further. You'd better not bang your coworkers. Don't fuck your coworkers. Hope this helps.